Yeah, in for the wine.
As quick as possible.
So it's a welcome back to Andrew. First time for Asa and Miss Bening. Now, by the way, Asa, if people turn on the television, because you do look much younger than your actual years.
I do.
Yes, but how old are you actually?
I'm 19.
19. You can drink, you can swear, all sorts. It's good. But I just wanted to clarify that, because I would turn on the television going, but there's a very young person on the couch. What are they talking about? Now, Harriet Harman, you've never done a show like this before, have you?
No, I haven't, no.
No.
But when I saw you doing Prime Minister's questions there, I had a moment of revelation, and I realised you should be Prime Minister. This is what we've been waiting for, you know.
Yeah. Next time there's a vacancy in Tower Hamlets, I'm in. And Annette, now, have I seen you on a British talk show before?
I'm not sure that you have.
But do you in America, you must do the...
I do, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do. I'm just shy, that's all.
Okay. Get that down, yeah. I found it a bit of a cure-all. And Andrew Garfield,
yes,
how lovely to have you at this time.
So happy
a
to be
big
here.
congratulations on your Oscar nomination.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, just... I'm glad for you. Because, you know, Oscars this month, I've heard you have threatened to recreate your beautiful Golden Globes moment, which you must be so regretting because you have to talk about it everywhere you go. I'm sure you guys saw this. We talked about it because Ryan Gosling was on the show a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
So Ryan Gosling is getting his award. Annette, you're here somewhere. Oh, there you are. Is that you?
Oh, yeah.
I think you're over there. But over here, stealing the thunder, is Andrew Garfield and Ryan Reynolds. So, are you going to do it at the Oscars?
No, it was a ridiculous thing. It was ridiculous. I said to Ryan Reynolds, if you win, kiss me instead of your wife. And he said, yeah, that's great. And, and the plan was that he would kind of move towards his wife and then kind of last minute move towards me. And then he didn't win, much to our disappointment. I said to we could still just do it. And he was game. But I love the fact that it was so deep in the background. So you kind of have to kind of look to see if it was actually what...
Yeah. No, because what's funny is, but Ryan Gosling was saying he was unaware of it.
Yeah, no, I know.
Were you aware of it, Annette?
No.
And that night, the big moment was Meryl making her amazing speech that night. And I presume the Oscars are going to be a similar event.
I imagine so, right?
I imagine so.
Because, Annette, you're famously a long-time Democrat.
Yes.
Democrat supporter. But I heard you, before the inauguration, you were kind of saying, calm down, everyone. How are you feeling now?
I don't remember saying calm down, everyone. Well, I respect very much the public servants like you, people who put themselves up to help run our country, especially the Democrats. I am a Democrat. And I also very much right now applaud the Republicans who are standing up to Trump. We very much need them. And so his attack on the press, I think, is very, very unfortunate. I think we need the press, obviously, and so that's part of...
Harriet's going to do it, really? Are you sure we need the press?
I'm feeling sorry for them in the States. I mean, they are really important, incredibly important.
Yeah, and his spokespeople have said, and he has said, they are the opposition party, the press. Yeah. So it takes a while for things to sort themselves out.
And I wonder, though, Harriet Harman, Theresa May obviously went to Washington. She's getting a lot of flack for that. And I feel for her because, you know, we can't sever all ties with America. We need America. So I suppose it's an easy question for you because you don't have to do it. But what would be your approach to it?
Well, I think that she's got to look as though she's a strong Prime Minister of a strong, self-confident country and not look as though she's going there begging for a trade deal on any terms whatsoever. And that's why that hand-holding thing was so disastrous, because it looked like he was sort of leading her along.
And isn't that a particular problem for a female politician? Because he couldn't have done that to a man, that robbing her of her power.
Definitely. I mean, there's all sorts of rumours about why he did it, but, you know, she should have had in her briefing, you know, this man is an identified groper, stand well away. You know, that's sort of
Harriet, in your time, you have also encountered the problems of body language. There's that very famous picture of you with Ed Balls. You don't look like you're inviting a kiss there.
But actually, I absolutely love Ed Balls.
But you do appear to have eaten your own lips.
I think, you know, it's like politicians, you know, kissing in public. But anyway, Trump said apparently that he's got this thing called bathophobia, which is like he's saying, I had to hold her hand because I've got this phobia, which is a fear of slopes. Now, I know men seize various parts of women's bodies for all sorts of reasons. That's the first time I've heard bathophobia. It's like, I'm sorry, I've got to grab your bum because I really feel giddy on this slope. No. Anyway, he might have that phobia, but certainly I've got Trumpophobia, and I think lots of other people have as well.
Yes. Is that question time? It's good. I'm loving it. Yes. Yes. Man in the pink tie. Yes. Very good. I like it. Very good. Now, we must... we mentioned already the Oscar nomination, but it's currently in UK cinemas, that performance, in Hacksaw Ridge, directed by Mel Gibson, and it's an extraordinary true story. I love when films do this, where they pick up a story that kind of just fell through the cracks of history. So tell us about who you play.
Desmond Doss is the guy's name, and he was a real person, and he served in World War II as an army medic, but the difference is that he was a pacifist, and all medics had to be armed, but he refused. He refused to even go near a weapon. That unto itself is what a beautiful act. But legally, he was obligated to carry one, so his own army tried to get him kicked out and railroaded and put in prison and all these things. He managed to finally find a legal loophole and ultimately serve, but he was ostracized by his own men. But then he did these miraculous things on the battlefield. He didn't only treat and save the lives of his own men, 75 in one night. He carried and lowered down off this incredibly 400-foot tall ridge. One man as skinny as me carrying men the size of Vince Vaughn. But he also treated members of the opposition. He treated the quote-unquote enemy. He didn't see skin color. He saw a man in need, only ever a man in need. He understood the sanctity of life. The values in him, the virtues in him that he embodied are kind of incredible for us to look to now, very awe-inspiring.
Well, our clip is exactly that. Our clip is during the horrific battle, which is... Those sequences are really extraordinary. The battle at Hacksaw Ridge, and this is you rescuing your sergeant, played by Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
It has been really well received, this film. I mean, you got the Oscar nod, but how does it happen? Were you watching telly? Did you watch the announcement live?
I couldn't. I was across the street actually from this studio. I was because I'm rehearsing a play at the National Theatre right now. Yeah. And I was in rehearsals for Angels in America, and I think we had just broken for lunch, and I think they were doing the announcements on LA time. And I bought a tuna salad in the National Theatre canteen.
God is in the details.
And I was eating said tuna salad while drinking sparkling water alone in the National Theatre canteen, terrified of doing a play again because I'm a terrible actor. And then
no, let him.
It's just like, but it was ironic because I had this really bad... theatre rehearsals are tricky. It's a fumbling, failing process where you're trying to figure out what the hell you're doing. So you feel terrible mostly. And then to find out in that moment that I was nominated for such a prestigious award, it felt very ironic, and it felt very strange, and I didn't quite believe it.
But you must have gone back into the afternoon rehearsal thinking about, I think I got this! I
think I was a bit like, oh, maybe I was wrong about how terrible I am. Yeah, no, it's interesting.
Because if anyone knows what it's like, it's Annette Bening. You've been nominated, is it 4 times?
Yes.
4 times?
Yes.
Wow, never won of it, but 4 times!
You really have to bring that up.
But Loads of time. So what is it like being nominated? What's the evening like?
Oh, well, it's very exciting. The first time I was nominated was 26 years ago, and the five of us who were nominated got together in the audience before the show went on the air, and we all agreed secretly, just amongst us, that we would have dinner the next week, and whoever won would pay. So Whoopi Goldberg won. The next day, I was working on a movie. The next day, in my trailer, I got a beautiful big bouquet of flowers with a little note saying, meet at such and such a restaurant next week. We all met, and Whoopi gave us each a gardenia and a chocolate Oscar.
Oh. So, look at it this way. If you lose, Andrew, there might be a free dinner in it. It swings and roundabouts. Because, when you were really young, you were in Hugo and the Boy in the Striped Pajamas and stuff. So were you around all the award shows and things? Were you wheeled out?
I did some.
Well, you know, because if there's a
they let me
if there's a child in a movie, if there's a child in the movie, they love bringing the child up on stage, going, "Look, it's a child."
I had my mum, so she would get me in, and it was all right. And yeah, I mean, when you're that age, you don't really kind of know what the hell's going on. It's all just.
I'm 66.
And did they put you in a tiny tuxedo? And
They do, and usher you onto the carpet, and there's all the flashing lights, and you sort of stand and smile and look cute, and it's
now, I wonder, because you know the way when you put on weight, you keep the suits. Do you have a tiny tuxedo at the back of your wardrobe thinking, that might come in handy for something?
I do, and my mum wears it.
Now, Andrew, we mentioned already, you're currently rehearsing Angels in America, which opens at the National Theatre on the 11th of April. And it's sort of unbelievable to me. The play is 25 years old.
Yeah.
But I must say, for this anniversary production, they have put together an extraordinary team. Tell us who you've got and yeah.
Yeah, so Marianne Elliott is directing the play.
Who did Curious Incident of the Dog.
The Dog in the Nighttime, and War Horse, which has 10,000 touring productions happening across the world right now. And she's brilliant, and the cast is incredible. Nathan Lane is playing Roy Cohn, the famous New York lawyer, one of Donald Trump's mentors, actually.
It all comes back.
So it's set in the 80s in New York City, and it's set in the AIDS crisis, where AIDS was at its peak, and no one really knew where it had come from or how to stop it. And it was spreading like an awful wildfire that was just taking lives. And it's actually a comedy we're discovering in rehearsal room. It's weird. It's a very, very funny play that Tony's written. It's incredibly tragic, but incredibly funny. And it's basically about how these 6 or 7 characters, main characters, are attempting to make sense of this modern plague.
And there's massive excitement about this production.
Yeah.
And to just, if you don't live in London, can't get to London, it is going to be beamed to cinemas around the world. They're doing one of those NT Live things.
Yeah.
20th of July, so you've got plenty of time to get ready. And then the week later, the 27th of July, is the second part. Because, I mean, not to put people off, but altogether, it's about 7 hours long, you think?
I don't know how long it is. I don't know how long it is.
Yeah,
yet.
speak quicker.
I'm going to cut a lot. But no, it's absolutely going to be worth your time. Wait, I take that back. I'm not sure if it is yet.
Say it is. Come on. Sell.
Just the play.
You're Oscar nominated. How bad can you be?
The play itself is absolutely worth your time. I swear to you. It's a life-changing experience in the theatre, I think.
Because Annette, you must have seen this the first time round, did you?
Indeed. In fact, it was done the first time in Los Angeles, and it was the first time I had been in LA when a theater piece really became an event. So it was done at the Mark Taper Forum downtown. You would go for the day. You would go to the matinee, just like I'm sure people will do here. You go to the matinee, you have a bite to eat, and then you see the evening performance. Oh, and then it went to New York, and it was a huge event. Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's a chat show. It's a chat show. So I'm very excited to tell you that on our couch tonight, we have a record holder. Yes, we do. That record holder is Asa Butterfield. Now, you are a record holder, aren't you?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
Now, that's what I've been told.
If you're... I hold the record.
Well, he's very fast at doing something. Any guesses, Andrew?
How old are you?
He's 19. No, I'll stop you. What are the things you're very fast at?
Right. So I can. Neither of them are at all useful. I can clap very fast.
Take that, audience. Someone on the couch is saying, I'm better at clapping than the audience.
And then I can type the alphabet very fast as well, which came about really weirdly.
But now, when you say very fast, tell us, what's your best time?
My best time for typing the alphabet is 1.97 seconds.
Wow. And what's the world record?
I think it's under 1 second.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're not a record holder at all?
No.
What a waste of time this has been. Oh, I know. It's a record attempt. We're going for a record attempt. Because there is actually, there is a kind of a website. They've set this up where there's a clock, the alphabet, and as you type the thing, the alphabet lights up.
I had one. My brother showed me it.
Yeah, we've got it. So can you show us on this?
I can. Is
Yeah.
this the same one?
Well, I don't know.
Well, it was called...
I like you bringing your drink with you. Okay.
Type the alphabet. That's
Okay,
what they're
so it's all there.
Wow.
Okay, so basically,
God.
you start typing and the clock starts, okay?
Jeez. See, when I did this, the game was called Finger Frenzy.
Okay. We won't ask what you were Googling when you found it.
I'm gonna give it a go.
No, honestly, this is good. Watch this. Okay, come on. Come on. For the record. Okay. Here we go. Oh, no, try it again. Reset.
Where's the mouse?
There's the mouse. Reset.
Reset. All right, the first try.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. It was nerves.
It's a different keyboard layout.
It's best of 20.
Best of 20.
Yes.
Oh!
It's this game. I need Finger Frenzy.
Feel awful. Anyone else want to go? Harriet Harman? No? All right. Well, let's try fast clapping then.
See if this goes any better.
I have no idea what this is.
I watched a video on YouTube of someone who actually holds the world record. Again, I gain all these things off YouTube. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And so there's a technique. Most people clap like this.
Yes.
Right? It's the usual thing. But if you sort of flex like this, and then it starts to speed up.
Wow! I would just say to enjoy this time because now you can legally drink. These games are over for you. There'll be far less time on YouTube learning how to clap fast. I promise you. Very impressive. Right, Annette Bening. Annette Bening, you bring us a fabulous film, 20th Century Women. It opens next Friday. I love films like this.
Thank you.
It's just got a great ensemble cast, and it's a particular sort of American film that you guys are so good at making. So tell us about it.
Well, Mike Mills wrote and directed it. It's 1979, Santa Barbara, so this is pre-digital, which is kind of an interesting thing now to look back at a time before we had the digital age. And I'm playing the mom who's trying to figure out my own life and raise my son. And I've got the son, and he's trying to grow up and figure out me. And we've got a group of people living in the house. We've got Greta Gerwig, who's a punk artist, kind of wild woman, but also has problems and has an illness. And we have Elle Fanning, who plays his friend, who's a badass teenage girl, amazing, and Billy Crudup.
And it's based on the director's mother.
Own life, yes.
Yeah, but I found her a really sympathetic character because she's trying so hard to be the best mother she can be.
Right, but I like her because she's not an idealized mom. She just is a real human being.
Oh no, she's failing constantly, but she, exactly. We've got a clip. This is your character, sort of presiding. You know, you're trying to be liberal, lovely mom.
Yes.
At a dinner party. Asa nearly did his quick clapping there. You like to tell much.
Next time.
I mean, because you've got four children. You've
do.
Got. So I mean, those scenes must have resonated with you.
She ad-libbed a lot of that scene. It was very, very funny. And then Billy, at the end, says, you know, you can't have sex with just part of the woman and just the vagina. You have to have sex with the whole woman. And Greta says, yes, but that's slightly off topic. And that was all improvised, so yes.
Oh, it's a terrific film. It
Thank
really,
you.
really is. And also, we should say, in terms of your own life, congratulations. Is it next month, 25 years of being
Yes.
married?
Yes.
25 years of marriage.
25.
Well done. Very good. I suppose 25 years is a huge achievement anywhere, but in Hollywood it seems like it's sort of extraordinary.
I don't know, we're given more credit. I don't know if it's more unusual in Hollywood or not. I think there's a lot of divorce everywhere.
Well, I guess we read about yours.
Yeah.
So that would be the that would be the difference. And I suppose because I don't think I'm saying, but Warren Beatty had a certain reputation before you. So was there a lot of it will never last? Were there people kind of going, are you out of your mind?
I suppose there were people, I guess people didn't say it to me, but I suppose people thought that.
Said it to your parents?
Perhaps, yes.
And 25 years, can you beat that, Harriet Harman?
Yes. Can I just say, though, in that 20th century women, that face, any mum looking at that knows that they've had that face. It's all deteriorating all around, and it's just so brilliant. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait.
It's a great film. Now, 30 years. 30 years is contained within Harriet Harman's new book, A Woman's Work. Here it is. And it's your life, but it's also a story of the women's movement and your career. It's listed all the things. Longest-serving female MP, deputy leader of the Labour Party, twice acting leader of the Labour Party. All of that, it's all in here. What is the big thing? What's the thing that you're proudest of at this point?
Well, I guess it's being part of that movement of women where, I mean, I was born and brought up at a time when the most important thing for a woman was to kind of get a man, and the summit of your ambition was to get a decent man to marry, and then after that your great honour and privilege was to, like, be a housewife and to look after him. And we were like, well, no, we don't think we're second-class citizens. We don't think we should be subordinate to men. We're just going to get out there and absolutely change everything. So it was such a kind of time of transition and a feeling of revolution, really. So the only problem was that we couldn't do anything unless we could change politics. So it was like the irresistible force of the women's movement and the immovable object of Parliament. And we had to kind of batter our way in.
And thankfully, things have changed. I mean,
Yeah.
loads of things have changed over the last 30 years. But I was saying to you beforehand, I do find it extraordinary that still women are having to have a march. They're having, even if they've given rights, they're feeling they have to protect those rights. Are you saddened that things haven't moved further in those 30 years?
Well, I think we have come a long way, but there is, you know, we're not equal yet. There is still a long way to go. And I think you should never be complacent about rights which have been really hard won, because there's always people who want to turn the clock back. Whether it's on tackling racism or homophobia, there will be people who want to seize the opportunity to turn the clock back to the 1950s. So you can't really take those rights for granted. They were hard fought for. And I think we're at that moment now, you know, and like, you know, it's not your fault, Annette, but Trump is like sending this virus across, which is legitimising all those kind of reactionary views.
I apologise on behalf of my nation.
I think we need her as president as well as you, Prime Minister. I think we'd be
Actually, that is
much better
interesting.
off.
Have you ever thought of running for office?
I have not.
Okay.
Maybe once.
Yeah. Oh,
There we are.
Do it again. But in terms of, you know, moving things on in terms of women, how disappointed are you that, you know, it's the Conservatives who've rustled up 2 female prime ministers?
Well, this has been a bit of a sort of paradox/torture for us because, you know, the first woman prime minister was Margaret Thatcher, and, you know, we did not feel that that was a good thing to be celebrating, that Margaret Thatcher was the Prime Minister, so we had to do lots of marching, holding banners saying the First Lady puts women last, and that was her. And now we've got another woman Prime Minister, and once again, it's a Tory. I mean, we've got more Labour women MPs than all the other parties put together. But at the very top level, it seems to be, you know, I've got that song in my head, it's Raining Men. You know that song? It does feel like that.
Oh, I know that song.
Yeah.
And very good. This book, when you write a book like this, is this you saying, I'm retiring, I'm out of here? You know, Harman out.
Not at all, and it's not at all actually. And it's funny because there is a thing about women and your age. It's like when you're much younger in politics, it's like, oh, you know, young, pretty, a bit distracting, a bit flaky, not to be taken seriously. Whereas a young man will be regarded as very thrusting with loads of promise for the future, and he's in his prime, whereas the woman's a bit ditzy. And then when she's having her family and she's got loads of children, she's like a bit of, you know, she's just a write-off, whereas he's regarded as, you know, he's got his family, reassuringly virile. And then, when they're older, the man is like experienced, wise, like George Clooney, attractive, silver foxy type of thing. And the woman, when she gets older, well, she's just past it. And it's like, when is our prime? It's like...
I've got the quick clap.
I'm going to be like having my prime now.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Well done. Well, no mistaking Asa Butterfield in his prime, because your life is changing. So the movie we're going to talk about, this is the first time you didn't have to study during the film. There were no chaperones around.
It was great.
I bet it was.
I was living by myself. I was in Albuquerque, which
Less great.
take it or leave it. It's funny because we were filming a film that's part of it set on Mars, and Albuquerque's got a kind of Mars-like look to it. It's a bit of a desert, so we made the most of that. And yeah, I didn't have to have a tutor. I wasn't in school. I could, yeah, I was a real actor. Yeah.
And have you moved in? You live in your own flat now?
Yeah, I've moved out of home last year, which is cool.
But is it though, because you've been in film since you were 8? Can you cook? Can you, like, how do you know how to do anything?
I can cook all right. Yeah, I do get a unfortunate amount of takeaway, and
Yeah.
kind of, I've got this great like local food shop just literally opposite. I can walk down the stairs. It takes me about 30 seconds and get loads of frozen pizza and kind of tuna and beans, Heinz baked beans.
Oh, well, Andrew would love that.
I've actually become amazing at cooking beans on toast. Honestly.
Now, your first film as an independent young man is the science fiction romance The Space Between Us. It opens next Friday, and here's a taste of what to expect. It's, you know, they make a lot of these science fiction movies, things, you know, people living on Mars and things, but this is a really unusual take on it. So explain the germ of the idea and the romance.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, it's a science fiction film, but it's got this backdrop. But I think what really kind of drives it is these relationships, and it's about this boy who's grown up on Mars for 16 years, so he's been totally isolated from just about anything. So he's an odd guy. He's kind of weird, and he's smart. But I really had fun just making the most of what kind of made him different, because he comes to Earth, and he hasn't seen anything before, like dogs and cats, and literally anything is interesting to him, and he's like a kid sort of in this teenager's body.
And one of the big things is gravity, obviously, because the gravity in Mars. I know I sound like a scientist, but but Earth's different, right?
Yeah. So it's one of the things we were playing with, I guess, to make him stand out, make him look like an alien, is this change in gravity. So Mars is 38% of the Earth's gravity. So when he comes here, he feels much heavier. And we wanted to give him this walk, which is kind of a bit Ministry of Funny Walks-ish, but not too far. So I'd strap sort of weights to my ankles and sort of sandbags, so I could feel what it was like to be heavier and walk around. And yeah, I had someone film me whilst I was doing it, and I could look at it. and just really make it funny and make it good.
No, but you're so consistent with it because you do heavy running as well, not just heavy walking.
That's right, and heavy jumping.
Yes.
Everything it takes much more effort.
Heavy clapping.
That's right.
And actually, talking of preparing for roles, you're in another film at the moment, Silence, Martin Scorsese's film. And was it you went to Wales to prepare for that, was it?
Yes, Wales.
Wales? Yes. No, because you're a monk in the film.
A priest, a Jesuit priest, yeah. So part of that preparation was myself and Adam Driver. We both played these Jesuit priests, and set in the 1600s in Japan, where Christianity has been outlawed. It's an amazing film. And it's a Martin Scorsese film, and Asa has worked with Marty, and he's made something quite profound. But one of the things that we did was we went on a silent retreat in Wales at a place called St. Bino's, which is a beautiful Christian retreat house. Do you know about it?
Well, it's very beautiful. I haven't done the retreat thing, though. Too early for that.
And yeah, so we had about 8 days together in silence, me and Adam. We had met each other once in New York, and we'd had a drink, and then we met each other again in Wales in total silence for 7 days.
So did you say hi as you went in?
No. It was like a mime. It was just all mime and mouthing.
Did you do lots of like that? Was there a lot of that?
It was it was.
And really, I could always think of a vow of silence. Like, do you write notes? I mean, you must speak at some point during 8 days.
No, you don't. You really don't. Has anyone ever done that? Has anyone ever done a silent retreat? Not one person!
They can't tell you about it.
I found it to be a beautiful experience. Gorgeous. And I very quickly got used to my own company and not having to... I don't know, just it creates a real intimacy with yourself.
And what's it like when you get out, then?
We lost our minds. This was the weird thing. We got into a car together, and we had a 3-hour car ride to the airport together, and it was just this torrent. It was just this outpouring of the most vile language and imagery. I don't know, it was as if the devil suddenly went, "Where have you been for the last 7 days, you bastards?" And suddenly it was the most vile. It was really scary. It was genuinely frightening. And giggling and kind of like crying with laughter. But then anyway, we ended up having the most disgusting, wonderful conversation on the way to the airport. Yeah.
That's very quickly. We're about to have music from Elbow. Now, we've already had some speed clapping from Asa. Don't worry, Asa, I'm not going to make you do something else. I can't believe I'm asking 4-time Oscar nominee Annette Bening this, but apparently your elbows are pretty loose.
It's true. I have a little elbow trick. Would you like to see my elbow?
You know they do. Yes.
May I hand you my bracelet?
Please.
This is serious.
Everyone gets to try this. What?
Was that your elbow?
He doesn't want to try it. Okay, so your hands go backwards to begin with.
Hang on. So,
all right, so backwards to begin with. Then you bring them underneath.
Yeah.
Then you open them up, and you put your head through.
Oh my! Wow! That is. I couldn't do that. No. Could you do it?
I can't. I've got young flexible.
You're made of elastic. Wow, well done. Very good.
Well, I don't know if that's very exciting, but there you have it.
We enjoyed it. Right, it is time for music. This award-winning British rock band are back with their 7th studio album, Little Fictions. Here performing Magnificent, She Says, please welcome Elbow! Sit down. You look like you've earned that. You've earned that. Yeah. The rest of the band are going, oh, but maybe we should have gone over now.
I can't believe it. There was a Guinness in it. I just said no.
So that's from the album Little Fictions, which is out today. And look what I've got. Look, I've got it on the vinyl. On the vinyl. I know. I get so many of these now, I'm thinking I might buy a record player. Because I have so many of them. But thank you very much. And you are touring this quite soon, isn't it? The end of this month?
We're touring the UK throughout... March.
I think it starts in Dublin in February, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm on this. Yeah. And then it ends in the UK at the end of March.
That's right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, really. You'll need about 28 pairs of pants. Yeah. Listen, thank you very much. Guy Garvey and Elbow. Beautiful. That's nearly it for tonight. Before we go, we've just got time for a visit to the big red chair. Who's there? Hello.
All right, Graham.
Hi. How tall are you?
6'2".
Oh, is that all? You look taller. What's your name, sir?
Kieran.
Kieran. And where are you from?
Leaksup.
Oh, Leaksup. It's a lovely part of the world.
Beautiful.
And do you still live there, or you live here now?
No, I live in London.
Oh, right. What do you do?
Design.
Who did that? Kieran. What do you design, Kieran? I'm intrigued.
Shoelaces.
Absolutely bonkers. One more. Okay, one more. Okay, let's try one more. Here we go. Oh, my God. Hello.
It's my planet.
That's your planet. It's all about the Butterfield. What's your name, sir?
Brad.
And where are you from, Brad?
Seattle.
Seattle. He's from Seattle. And, and are you here on holiday?
I am.
Okay, lovely. What do you do in Seattle?
I work in software. Sales and marketing.
Okay, lovely. Off you go with your story, Brad.
Sure. We were doing a global product rollout a few years back, and I was doing some training in Reading. About 60 people, men and women, in the office there. And I did some training for those folks, and we had to break them into small groups. I led the whole training exercise. Well, one group did a great job, a bunch of guys who were British, and I wanted to kind of compliment their presentation during the training, so I said, "Boys, I really like your spunk." I got a big laugh, and I didn't quite know what that was all about, but luckily during a break, one of the guys put me...
We all know that's about it. Well done, Brad. Well done, everyone. If you'd like to join us on the show and have a good for the red chair, you can get contact us via our website at this very address. That is it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Please thank you to my guests. Elbow. Asa Butterfield. Harriet Harman. Annette Bening. And Andrew Garfield. Join me next week with musical guest Rag and Bone Man, 50 Shades Jamie Dornan, Hollywood star Keanu Reeves, Oscar winner Denzel Washington, and the one and only Whoopi Goldberg. I'll see you then. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.